G'day viewers. Well, after a little bit of a hiatus, I'm going to try and finish off this series on martially effective blows. Basically, just got 2 more cutting demonstration things to do, and then we're going to come back and talk about what it all means. So to start with, let's just have a look at the longsword. What difference does a two-handed grip make? Now, people are almost always going to say, well, it's more powerful. There's no denying that it is, but the reasons why might not be exactly what you expect. Okay? Does it give me more impetus than a single-handed blow? Probably not. Okay? With a single-handed blow, I get to extend my arm much further. So the tip is actually going to be travelling a lot faster than on the much tighter arc that I get with the longsword. I've got a second hand that can help kind of leverage that forward to increase the speed of the tip. That'll make up for some of it. The swords are also a little bit longer. That might make up for some of it. But really, in terms of pure impetus, single-handed blow and two-handed blow are going to be moving at about the same speed, really. So impetus isn't going to make that much difference unless it's a much, much heavier sword. Where the two-handed grip makes an enormous difference, of course, is in the follow-through. Okay? With a single-handed sword, once I've hit my target, I have very limited ability to continue to push into it because it's such a long lever. Okay, I can put some energy into it, and I should, but the most efficient thing I can do is to draw back and use that structure, pulling back to draw that cut in, okay? But there's a limited amount of push going into it. When I have 2 hands on the sword, I have now a second point of leverage, which, as we all know, allows me to push much, much, much more strongly. So the two-handed blow is going to be more powerful, not because I'm swinging harder or moving it faster, but because after impact I can continue to exert energy into the target and get a deeper cut that way. That means that the sorts of cuts that are going to be better with a longsword are going to be those that include a large amount of draw and follow through. So, for example, a simple drawing cut with 1 hand is okay. With 2 hands, a little bit better. A pushing cut with 1 hand, as we've seen, is terribly wussy. With 2 hands, I can put a lot more energy into that and really push people around with this, okay? So I can get this on somebody and use it to push bits of their limb around with the sharp edge, okay? I will be getting some cutting as that draws through, but I get to really, really push it and control them. So those sorts of things are going to be better. But what's important is any of the sorts of cuts that don't involve follow through are not going to be any particularly stronger. So, still no effect. Still a tiny effect, okay? Got through maybe 3 layers of that just from the sharpness of the sword. Compare that to a proper blow, and you can immediately see the difference. Now, we saw in part 1 how purely percussive blows certainly do have a place in a fight. Okay, I can hammer down really hard and cause significant damage to my opponent. Now, what about some of the less powerful percussive blows? So, as an example of a cut that is definitely in historical sources but doesn't really have any draw, it's simply a sharp percussive cut, I'm going to use one which is common to both the English and German longsword systems. The Germans call it a Schwerkau. In English it is a roundy, which is a high horizontal cut to the side of the head, to the temple, from a position like that. How much damage does that actually do? So, my Schwerkau type cut penetrated just 2 layers of tatami mat. So it had a little bit of impetus, it didn't really have much in the way of draw, and as a result it didn't do a great deal of damage. In the English longsword system that I practice, it is it is a major part of the system that you use your two-handed sword in one hand, throwing it out with either the right hand only or the left hand only. Now, a lot of people complain about this. I'm often banned from doing this in tournaments because people from other styles object. So, is this a martially valid thing to do? Would a throw with the left hand only actually do any damage? Well, I'm going to test it. I'm going to do one of these cuts, which has a special name. It's called the Dragon's Tail. So it's a high horizontal cut, usually up to sort of head or neck level, thrown out with the left hand only on the sword. So let's do one and see what sort of effect it has on the target. It's also usually done without footwork, the whole idea being to out-time your opponent by striking them at a distance that they think they're safe. Well, I think we can all agree that was martially effective. So my Dragon's Tail made a nice clean deep cut halfway through the tatami mat. So absolutely throwing it out with one hand is martially effective and much more effective than the two-handed false edge snaps. So I have now put the tatami mat in a sack, so it's got about 3 layers of heavy linen around it now, which is street clothes, it's a hat on your head, it's, you know, not armour material. But I want to just demonstrate how much more difficult it is to cut people once they're covered in material. I'm going to do a downright blow with the single-handed sword and the two-handed sword and show you the results. So good solid cut, good follow through, did not touch the tatami mat, did not cut the material at all, completely unharmed. Let's do it again. Still nothing. Still nothing. Okay, the material is resisting the edge of the sword remarkably effectively. Let's try it with a two-handed sword. Oh, a little bit of a slice through the material there. Nothing and nothing. Again, a little bit of a slice. Okay, you can see a little bit of a slice through the material there. Okay, so as a reality check, you really got to consider that people did not fight naked. Look, I can't explain the Italians, but people did not fight naked. They wore clothing, they usually wore several layers of clothing, and not even talking armour grade material, okay, just a shirt, a waistcoat and a jacket, and suddenly you've got significant amount of material that you've got to get through. And against the bare tatami mats, you saw those blows very effective, go all the way through. All I have to do is wrap that in 3 layers of canvas and suddenly it's extremely difficult to penetrate. So I encourage you not to take my word for any of this. Do this for yourself. Find a Japanese sword school who can recommend a good tough tatami mat that's not going to be too easy to cut. Set yourself up for failure. Okay? Then get yourself a sword and make sure it's not so sharp that you don't feel like you can do this with it. Okay? If it's sharp that's going to take your fingers off, then you're swinging with something that is unrealistically sharp. Okay, I do want it sharp enough that I can, you know, say slice an apple with it. So kitchen knife sharp, not razor sharp. And then experiment for yourself. Swing the blows you normally throw, and see how effective they are. Okay, and you'll notice that, you know, if I go through our broadsword cuts, 1 and 2 effective. because we have gravity on our side. 3 and 4, less effective, okay? Wounding cuts at best, and there's a reason why silver concentrates on the downright blow and doesn't mention rising cuts at all, okay? So to get a really good idea of what kind of damage your blows actually do, you should test it.